Hello, everybody. Welcome to Footy Abroad. We are here. It is Tuesday, the 22nd of April, 2025. The Four Musketeers are back. The Avengers are back. The Fantastic Four are back. All of us, all in one place. Lads!
What a good weekend. Happy Easter. Buona Pasqua.
Happy Easter.
That's the only
Happy
languages
Easter,
I know.
everyone.
Just that one. So.
Buona Pasca, Chag Sameach,
How do you say it in Greek? Christos
Anesti.
Galo Pasca is just good Easter, but yeah, how are we, lads? I'm really happy to be here.
I'm good. I'm feeling good. I missed you guys last week. Missed you guys.
We missed you. We missed you, Swoop. It was a
good Easter.
good show.
Good Easter weekend. Good Easter weekend, yeah. And now 2 long weekends in a row. What more could you ask for?
This is peak Victoria, isn't it? Like these two weekends, like a short week with 2 long weekends.
Yep.
Pommy, hello, mate. What's going on?
Hey up, how are we doing? I'm good, mate. How are you?
Oh, I'm drinking some mango and cucumber water.
Oh, he's drinking some mango.
Quality.
Cucumber.
Yeah.
Each
It's
their
good
own.
for the voice, it's good for digestive system. What's that good for?
Check it. It's like my teapot.
Jeez.
Oh, wow, that's actually really cute.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like T2. That looks like proper stuff.
He went and forged that.
What do you mean I forged it?
Oh, I meant you went out and you got the leaves and
Yeah. Anyway, we are here. Tonight's going to be fun because it just will be. And I guess we'll go around one by one, talk about our teams, what happened on the weekend. Luke, you had the week off, but are there any general Collingwood thoughts? I mean, you have the week off
No.
after.
Top of the ladder.
Yeah. I mean, what's the
It's
story there?
always nice. Yeah,
Feels
like
good.
yeah, it does. It's when you go up to the Gabba, which we're notoriously not really good at these last few years. We might have won once there over the last couple of years, and to go up there and just dismantle the reigning premiers is incredible. Like, I don't think anybody, I thought we were going to win. I said about 8 points, but to win by that much, keep them under 55 points is absolutely incredible. The way we play, going back to back against reigning 2 grand finalists and beating them the way that we bet them it says a lot about what we've done since getting smashed by the Giants in opening round. So yeah, it's been good, and obviously I wasn't here right up the episode right after Gather Round. So Gather Round was really nice. I enjoyed going. I think I went to 4 games or something. So that was an incredible experience in and of itself. But Pies are sitting pretty. Anzac Day coming up, and it would be typical Collingwood to drop a game after 2 really good games to an undermanned Essendon side. You always got to beware the team that's backs against the wall. We know this for years. So it's going to be a really good week, and it's been a really good year so far. Quarter of the way through the AFL season.
Yeah. You could ask the chat. Collingwood was my lock of the week.
There we go. Love that.
Got around the Pies.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Do you feel... is it too early to say you feel validated knowing for sure you're going to be good this year? Because the form against the quality teams is what you really want to stack it up against. I mean, there's always that narrative, depends on who you beat. Like in Carlton's case, it's only North and West Coast, but you've beaten best teams over the last 12 months or whatever. So do you now have this faith that, okay, we're going to be up there this year, or is it too early?
No, 100%. Like, I went into this season, thinking that we would bounce back, because last year was really a lot of injuries. And then the opening round happens. You go, okay, you start questioning yourself, because then the media questions you. They're like, okay, we were right. They are too old. They are too slow. They are too this. They are too that. But I said at the time, I said it was an anomaly of a game, and I've been vindicated personally just off on the channel. And then we go and win the next 5 games, and you're beating. We haven't played anyone from the bottom 10 last year. So they're all prelim finalists, all elimination finalists, and 2 grand finalists. So we've done it the hard way to be 5-1 going into Anzac Day, which will be our first team that's outside of the top 8 from 2024. It does validate it and vindicate us for our shit season last year.
Fair. Tommy, what happened on the weekend with your Blues, mate? Our Blues.
Oh, not bad, eh? Just running goals in for fun. It was almost like a goal raffle, wasn't it, at the end? Like, do you know what I mean? Everyone took a ticket. Everyone got an invite. Yeah, very good. I mean, it's nice, isn't it? Because, I mean, doing this, I mean, I don't live in Carlton content, so I get a bit of an escape. But it is nice reviewing a game for the Blues that you do love them. That's not a loss. So it's always good, isn't it? And nowhere to hide now. If the confidence was an issue, the Blues have literally been gifted, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Gifted to results. All the confidence is flying. They've won them convincingly and now got 4 weeks of proper tests for 4 teams that present 4 different challenges. Looking forward to it.
Man, it's exciting time. Yeah, there's just an air of hope that maybe not all is lost. But obviously, similar to, I think, Jake, you had the same situation with the Saints. Or maybe you beat Geelong and you said, no, we've got to back it up against Port. Or was it the other way around? Beat Port and then go to Geelong?
No, it was, beat Geelong and then we beat Richmond, and then I wanted to see us beat Port, and then I would have some sort of belief. But yeah, that does quickly get swept away. That's football. Yeah.
No, we'll get there. But yeah, no, I mean, the point I'm trying to make is I feel very similar. Like West Coast, okay, North. I don't think North are as bad as what we made them look, although that's credit to Carlton. But having said that, it's all about doing it against Geelong on Sunday, and then we can, boys, man, if the Blues beat the Cats on Sunday, fucking insufferable Carlton is back.
Mate, it didn't go anywhere. It didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it was back after you guys.
Even when you lose, it's the same shit.
Nah. Yeah, nah. I've seen it. That you guys were back. You guys were dancing on the bones of the Kangaroos. That's just. We'll talk to Jake first, and then I want to get into the Kangaroos actually.
Okay. Jake, I didn't watch the Saints. What happened? And what's the story?
Well, I don't know. We were up 4-1, looking $1 million. I genuinely thought we were going to walk the game. It was looking easy. Sam Darcy goes off for the rest of the game. You're like, he's the one player you prepare for going into it. He's the one worry. Bond, obviously the other, but Darcy was the big talking point. And then I blink, and then it's 5 goals the difference. Blink again, it's 7. Then it's 8. Then it's 10. And then it pushed 12. And it was fucking deplorable. That was flashbacks to the reason I started the channel and ranting on camera, honestly. It was piss poor, and a friendly reminder that we still have a long way to go. We are not anywhere near the finished product. And I mean, if you asked me pre-season, after 6, you take 3 and 3, I probably would have. But we've won the 3 games we've won. We've been great, but we've had 3 floggings. It's not like, even Carlton, you've been disappointing, but you've lost some games by 8, 10, 15 points. You've been in them. We've been out of these games from the first, well, not the first bounce. The 2 of them we did. On the weekend, it was 15 minutes in, and it was just a dropping of the heads, no leadership, nothing like that. And it's just, like I said, a friendly reminder that, you're never as good as you think you are. And I didn't think we were amazing. Like, I think I'm happy with the way we've been going about things, but I didn't expect to be handed a loss like that to the Dogs. You know, that was a game I thought we could win, like the Geelong game. If we play well, we can win. But they were just, the Dogs were very good, and they've not been bad all year, so credit to them. But what we dished up is, I thought North were bad. We were as bad. So. Oh, really? I thought so. Like, personally, I thought we were probably the worst performer of the round, given, our form going into it and the opponent. I thought we could play well, but the Dogs took us to the absolute cleaners. They were fucking good, and we were shit. And It's not bad. We've papered over the cracks in a few games, but it's good to have this and rip the Band-Aid off. And Ross he put the blowtorch on, I think, the captain and a few other senior players. So the response is key. I mean, we've got Brisbane, so it fucking doesn't get any easier, but I almost don't mind having Brisbane off the back of this. Nowhere to hide, like you guys said before. At Marvel, let's see what happens. They're coming off a loss. Both teams coming off a loss. It's going to be a major test of our resilience. From
memory, you played the Lions at Marvel maybe back end of last year, and you nearly won, or was it like it was a good game?
No, it wasn't. We got done by like 80. That was our one like thumping in the back end of the year, and then we were great in every other game. That was the one game they tore us up. They were like, you're thinking of the Gabba game. Like 6 weeks before that, we played them at the Gabba and we nearly won.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I remember watching it at the pub. It must have been the Gabba game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We came home, kept 7-1, I think, and nearly pinched it in that game. But at Marvel, where you think we'd be a little better, they were too good. So, yeah, not great, but it's round 6. I'm not gonna jump off the Saints bandwagon just yet.
Well, you take losses so much better than me. So much better.
Do I? Did you see my review? Did you see my review, mate?
Okay,
it's been a few days.
Honest, I didn't. I should have done some. Well, if all right, I'll be honest. If Carlton lose and St Kilda lose, part of my personal therapy is watching the first 10, 15 minutes of you in the car. It makes me feel like someone feels something that I'm feeling. Mate, but this week I didn't need to.
No, I was over the sugarcoating and being reasonable. Round 1 I gave them, but then the Giants, there were some patches, but this week it was, non-competitive, disinterested. So time to rip in and get to work.
Fair. Well, why don't we rip into this episode one by one, bring up a topic of conversation. Sorry. And go from there. Who would like to start us off?
I can go.
Jake,
I've got a good one.
Yeah.
Cool. So we all talk about Pendlebury and these players that have played a million games. There's a lot of them in the competition. But I wanted to get your opinion on the players that don't play a lot of games and how meaningful their careers are in comparison. So my question to you boys and to the people in the comments is it more meaningful to carve out a long, steady career or to live forever in one unforgettable moment? So think Brad Johnson, 364 games, no flags. Tom Boyd, 60 games, has that one moment that no one will ever forget, and it'll be replayed for the next 100 years for Bulldog supporters. So it's legacy or lightning in a bottle?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Wow. As in, are you saying what would you rather, or are you saying...
Is it what's more meaningful? What to you has the more meaning? Is it the longevity? Is it the lightning in a bottle? Is it that moment? Or is it that 10 years of consistency? Because would Brad Johnson trade 364 games for Tom Boyd's 60 game clutch moment, winner, granny moment? Like, what's meaningful to you boys? Because I guess you could cruise a 200 game career. How many times have we seen that from players? But if you had a 20 game career and you've got that moment and you take it, you've achieved everything.
It is a great question. I've always respected the body of work, because to be consistent over a long period of time is harder than having a great single season and then falling off. But the game is about winning and winning flags. So like Tom Boyd has paid his dues. That's it. He did what he needed to do.
It's tough, isn't it?
I think if you play more than 300 games, that's a different level to like if you're a 241 gamer. 200 games is a lot as well, because then you get like the father son. I don't know how to answer the question. It's a great one.
What are the comments got? Lightning in a bottle for the player, it's
Lightning in a
longevity. That's a great point, because it depends on the perspective, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Legacy
because
is moment. This is a great. What a great quote. Legacy is fleeting, but the moment, lives on.
Yeah, that's true.
It kind of reminds me of I remember Brodie Grundy back when he was at the Pies. He said he had an interview and he said that his career won't be defined by a premiership. So even if he goes on to play like 300 games, it's not going to be defined by a premiership. But then you look at someone like for example, you look at for Collingwood, Nathan Buckley, right? He wins all of these awards, plays X amount of games, doesn't get the flag, loses the flag as a coach as well. But that legacy, would he trade it all in for, I'm trying to think of a Collingwood player like a Billy. Would he trade all what he did, all the 7-time All-Australians or whatever he is, all those Copelands, the Brownlow? Would he trade all of that in for Billy Frampton's 12 Collingwood games and a premiership? I don't think he would. I don't think he would. I think like everyone's sort of saying here, I think it is because the legacy does live on with those players. But lightning in the bottle, I think of Mark McGough, has a lightning in the bottle game against Essendon on Anzac Day, wins the Anzac Day medal.
Was that his debut? His debut?
Yeah, I think it was his debut. Yeah. And then
unreal.
Ended up playing for the Saints for a year or a couple
year
or so. Yeah. So it's an interesting question. I think I would personally say I'd personally go legacy. I think it'd be 55-45 split at best, but I would just teeter on legacy.
And what someone said before about Jezza being both, that's like Dusty. There's like a very rare percentile of player that can absolutely be around for a while, be consistent, and be clutch in that absolute key moment in that big game. That's what makes them so special. The premiership medallion. Yeah.
I've seen people here saying that Buckley would trade all of his stuff for a premiership.
I've heard a lot of players, like even Nick Riewoldt, absolutely would trade years off his career probably to win that one flag, I think, And then
I played 2 proper seasons of footy, and I won a flag in my first season at the Thomastown Football Club, which was actually 10 years ago. So I played 2 years of footy, won a flag. Would I rather have played the 2 years that I played as opposed to play 10, 15 years of footy and not win a flag? Yeah. And then on the other end, I played 20 years of basketball, and only at the last 2-3 years did we win, state titles and whatever we won. So I did the longevity and won the titles, and then felt fulfilled. And then in footy, just played and just whatever. I wasn't a great player, but I wasn't the worst player. So I was just good enough to play in the premiership team. So yeah, it's all about winning for me. It's all about winning.
John says it best here. There are no reunions for legacy players. That sums it up, I guess.
Wow, what a great question. Pommy, what do you think?
Well, I think it's interesting. I mean, I think you kind of answer it if you're I think Carlton and Collingwood are in good positions to answer it in the terms of factually. So if you look at Carlton, only 106 players have played over 300 games, right? And we've had 2 recent hit milestones. Mark Murphy, he played 300 games. And then obviously the great Cade Simpson sits very high up in one of the rare players to play a mammoth amount of games. But he won't be in the conversation when you talk about greatest Carlton player of all time, will he? Do you know what I mean? So there's players there, hundreds of players that have played far less games than Cade Simpson, but you've won something. So you look at it, the 4 guys who have played 400 games, Dustin Fletcher, Bartlett, Burgoyne, Pendlebury, Tuck, Harvey, when you're in that kind of esteemed company, the flag is kind of part of the story, isn't it? I would counter it and say someone like Basher Hooley, I think, has got like an interesting story, delisted by Essendon after like 20 games, then given a second chance by Richmond after being delisted, then comes out of the other end of it with multiple flags. Like, I think that's part of the story, isn't it? But I do think you have to be a Premiership player to really be remembered, or you're having the 450 games, you're playing a lot. So I think you're going to die, aren't you? Lightning in the bottle is probably the best thing, because that's going to be remembered for all time. Like, it doesn't sound that impressive, does it? If you were in a pub, like, I always look at it this way. You're in a pub, you go to a pom, played 400 games of AFL football. Oh, that's cool. Did you win anything? Oh, no, but I played 400. I'm like one of 7 people. Okay, cool. Yeah. Someone comes in and goes, I played 22 games of football, though, and I won a flag. What's that? That's like winning the Premier League title. You're going to instantly get the kudos, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. So it's kind of like Leicester or Arsenal, who haven't won one yet. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so like Leicester, that's the shortcut, wasn't it? I think everyone will remember Mahrez, Kante. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like Danny Simpson, right back. Like, you are going to be remembered as a Man United fan for all of time. All of time. Like, Danny Simpson, everyone's like, who's he? Like, he's a Premiership champion. So, like, he's a Premiership winner. So I would say sport is about winning things. And Nat Five said it best, didn't he, when he won his Brownlow, that he would give them both back to win a flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, that's a good
What a great start.
Good question to start off with.
Fuck. All right. Luke, you want to go?
Yeah, cool. So my question, definitely not as thought-provoking, and I like to do, questions about things that are happening in football of the week. The biggest one was the Nash hit on Myers yesterday, and now all of the talk of like a sin bin or a red card for those very rare events where something like this happens. I don't know, you guys probably would have seen the footage by now, but I remember I was watching it and I was floored, like jaw on the floor. Like, I know obviously it wasn't like a Barry Hall knockout, but even you can even go back to Barry Hall when he knocked out Brent Staker. West Coast are down one player, but Barry Hall gets to play the rest of the game. And I think the question, I guess the question is, rightfully or wrongfully, do we need a red card or maybe not a red card, but like a sin bin situation where players have to get off the ground for X amount of time, or just off the ground for the whole game? Is
it possible to? I haven't actually seen it. Is it really worth having a look?
Yeah, I'll bring it up. I mean, we're essentially doing the yearly sin bin red card conversation.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it cooks them.
So we are looking at. Okay, stand by. Oh, it's pretty bad. He fucking got him real good, man. Like,
yeah, he like cleaned him right up. Like you'll probably see it, but Myers, he couldn't get up. He couldn't walk off the ground by himself.
So let me just set the scene. So Myers here, ball here, Nash here, frame by frame.
Oh. Jesus. That's bad.
It's bad, man. He was he's out here already.
Look at where the
and then he's out, yeah.
And then does Nash then decide, there's the ball, I might go for it?
Well,
at what point does Nash even look at the ball?
Is he clumsy or is he intentional?
No. Just do it again. Slow down. So his arm's nowhere near the ball. No one's coordination is that poor, surely, that you don't know where the ball is to make contact. Or do you just go for the tackle at that point? Like, you let him take possession and then you just wrap the arms and it's a ball up. But he did neither.
In that moment, he's not so far away. But that frame, the ball drops quite a bit.
Oh my God.
Has he claimed that Myers drops... Myers doesn't even really drop the knees like he normally does to win a free. Oof. Yeah. That's pretty bad. Is he going to get weeks for that?
Well,
You've
he's
got-
straight to the tribunal. So
Straight to the
Yeah.
tribunal. Okay.
which means 3+. Yeah.
So you think
That's-
sin bin at that exact
I
moment
think-
for the rest of the quarter? Or 15, 20 minutes, like you just put a timer on it and that's it?
I think that's the thing. Like we see it in soccer all the time, where you can get red carded in the 3rd minute, and that's it. You're done for the whole day, and now you have to play with one less. And I think how I would do it. I don't know if it should be like a sin bin like the rugby, or straight red card for the rest of the game. But if you say you've got a sub, so say they keep the 4 and the 1 sub, if you get red carded, you're not allowed to bring that sub on. That sub is you can't use that for a red carded player. So you always play with 1
3.
less.
Yeah. Wow.
I just think, I mean, it's a great argument for the card system. Don't get me wrong. I just think we're talking about it in the context of this incident. There's no doubt if it were to be brought in, there would be at least 2 to 3 incidents a game where we'd be having debates in mainstream media about should that have been a red card, should that have been a yellow card. I just think we're gonna open a can of worms. I'm just mindful of it. Like, yep, that incident, I personally don't think it's worth a red card. I just think he got it wrong. Like, he messed it up. No different to I mean, I still stand by the fact that Lob hit Cox in the face knowing he was going to hit him in the face. And I think if that's a red card offense, then so is the Lob one. Personally, I'll die on the hill alone. I don't know.
But what does that mean then? How does that then connect to the tribunal? So a red card or a sin bin is automatic suspension for the next game, like in the EPL, or is it automatic sent to the tribunal, then decided?
Yeah, automatic sent. I'd automatically sent to the tribunal if you get carded, because they do have cards in. I remember I was playing in high school, in year 12, and I got carded, like yellow carded, and sent off for like a stupid tackle or a fight.
Yeah, I think we had that too.
They do have it.
Yeah.
They have it in like the EDFL and stuff like that. The cards. I don't know exactly how they work, but I know you can get sent off and come back.
Yeah, I got sent off once. I do remember. Yeah.
So does the Jackson Archer hit get a red card as well? You know, the one from a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Like, where's the line?
Oh.
Yeah, that's exactly. Because I'd say he wouldn't get red carded. You know, that's exactly your case in point. Yeah. What about you, Pommy?
I think when you compare it to other sports, it's almost incomparable, because the training that even a conference referee gets makes AFL umpires look like they're in preschool. And like, we're having debates weekly about 70-meter, 50-meter penalties, which even if you rudimentary marked it, you just count out 50 steps and you would be with or within 5 meters of it. We complain about 15-meter kicks being marked. Can you imagine if you sent some, like, you think how many go to tribunal and are free to play? So Travis in our group talked about Danger. Like, can you imagine if Danger was sent off for that game? They had to play 1 man down with limited rotations because they've lost a player now straight away. And it was then got to tribunal and they're like, oh no, the umpire got it wrong. We're complaining about, we have teams having a cry. Like, I've seen Brisbane fans say Collingwood were gifted the win and got battered by 50. And I'm like, come on, 10 goals. Do you know what I mean? Like, grow up.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine them? Like, I think our game's so fast. Like, even when you look at NRL and Super League, which I know about in the UK, some of them sin bins, I would say last year, at least 40% of the sin bins were like downgraded in tribunal in the Super League in the UK, or were deemed harsh. And that's only a limited amount, a small field, limited amount of players. And I've played rugby league a lot. It's like probably the biggest sport I've played, bar soccer. It's quite easy to defend 1 man down. Do you know what I mean? It's not that hard to defend 1 man down, given the structure of it. Your centre picks up 2 people. Do you know what I mean? Your winger nips in a little bit and you just become a bit more condensed for 10, 15 minutes. Can you imagine in football playing 1 down?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus,
almost impossible.
Plus, we already speak about the more rules we add and the more decisions that we add into this game, the more confusing it gets. can you imagine how much more confusing and inconsistent it's going to get if we add this layer of, oh, is it a yellow? Is it a red? Is it a, because you've got to make a split-second decision as an umpire in the moment. And, it's different if you're umpiring a game with 22,000 people there as opposed to 88,000 people there.
Could I suggest an amendment? Wouldn't it be fairer if, like, say in that situation, we've got the sub rule at the minute? Don't you think it would be better if them emergency players were concussion subs?
So
they used to be. Yeah, so say with Darcy. Darcy went off very early in the game against St Kilda. Right, let's just say 10 minutes later, one of Steele or something accidentally went into, I don't know, say Norton and knocked him out. At that stage, then, they've used their sub for a knee injury. They've now got a concussed player. Wouldn't it be better then to have concussion subs that are extra on there? So you actually cover that disadvantage. Because I think there, where you look at Geelong, Mears is a huge out for them. He's a big name player, right? But they did have the subs to cover him for 2 quarters. If they got an extra sub. So you had you named 4 emergencies. All 4 of them emergencies are available to play in the terms of concussion, and you have an independent AFL doctor that deduces you failed the concussion test, not the teams.
Yeah, I feel like we will get to a point where, let's just say we brought in a concussion sub, someone would then, get injured.
Well, that's why you have it independent. So like in Super League, we're one of the few sports in the world, the doctors are paid by the Super League. So they can't be interfered with by any team. Once he says you're concussed, they don't care what your club doctor says. He's concussed.
Yeah, and we talked about this on the show as well. I think last year, where we said, do we need independent doctors to look at concussions?
I can't remember who it was. Do you remember when we had the sub rule that could be activated for injuries, and it came out that one of the players just said he had a migraine, and because that's impossible to prove, they allowed it.
It was a concussion sub for like two or something years, and then people were abusing it, and they changed it, right?
Then it was medical sub, and then it was just like, guys, let's just have a sub.
Now it's just sub.
I could be wrong. I'm sure it was Geelong. I'm sure it was Geelong where they said it was a migraine.
It was Jezza, wasn't it? Was it Jezza?
It was a migraine, and obviously you can't prove a migraine. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool, but he had a good jolly up. The other way you could do it is do what the Premier League does and just that's what they did. They just extended the bench and said, right, okay, instead of having, when I was a kid, it used to be 1 sub. That's how old I am. And now the bench is 9. It's ridiculous now. It's like a whole fucking army of people. It used to just be 1 player when I was a kid. And if you had 2 injuries, unlucky, played with 10 men. Maybe just extend it and just say, look, because I've got no issue. I think the interchange bench is fine. For me, when I watch it, I think the 2 sticklers I've got is if you are knocked out like Connor Nash did, you are now stymied because you are effectively 1 player down. And do you want to activate a sub? Because an injury can happen at any time. Wouldn't it be great if we did have an 8-man bench and you had to fit them in the 75 and give the coaches some options and add a tactical element? I don't see why we don't have that, because a sub being playing 2 minutes just seems ridiculous, doesn't it?
Well, the emergencies, they're at the ground anyway, aren't they? The listed emergencies. So
just have them on the bench.
Just have them on standby. 4 bench.
Yeah,
and
if you watch VFL. Yeah, so for me, I'd say extend the bench, remove the sub, and then have the 3 emergencies as concussion subs. So if someone is genuinely out, have an independent doctor. Like Sean backed me up there. The NRL also have a third-party doctor. It's not that hard to employ someone and just say, I don't care if you're out and say he's not concussed. You just tell him, tough shit. Bloke said it was 1976. But to me, I think the interchange bench, even if you had a 9-man bench, that's not going to change the game dramatically, because you're only allowed to change someone 75 times with a 9-man bench. Let's say the bench was 9 men as opposed to 4. That's going to create more confusion for the coach, because then the coach has got to go, right, maybe I've got a spare ruckman. Do I bring a ruckman in? right now. But if he does, that he loses an interchange. So I think it then adds a technical nuance where you've got so many players, like in soccer, we have a free concussion sub. You actually see it's made the game a bit more nuanced, which I don't think would be a problem, personally. And you'd probably save ACLs and fatigue injuries. Players get more opportunity to play. Players like Matt Kennedy at when he was at Carlton would probably get a hell of a lot more minutes if we could have an extra person.
Yeah, I'm right there for extending the bench. I think 4 and a sub is so stupid. Like we've seen, Ned Long was a sub for most of the year. Then he comes on, plays a full game, and he's absolutely smashing it. And then you've got Ed Allen, who last week only played the last 15 minutes and then had to play the next day a full game in the VFL. Like,
it's stupid. I'm with you. I think it's detrimental as well because it creates opportunities. Because I said it against when Darcy went down, right? Someone in the comments was a Doggies fan and goes, "This is why I hate Bevo. Why the hell wouldn't you have a key forward replacement on the bench?" And I was like, "You've only got 4, right? So you'd be incredibly nuanced to go, right, I'm going to have a key defender there, a key forward and a ruckman, just in case someone dies." But if you extended it to 7, then the coach could, because I always say this, I think rucks are a little bit like prop forwards. Now, I don't know if you've ever played league, but up to under 16 level, they have a rule where you have to have a prop in union. They had a rule when I went to private school because I thought this was hilarious because he was always a big fat kid, but you had to have a sub that was extra who had played in the ruck to prevent back injuries from someone who's never played it. So because it was such a nuanced rule, you had to have one. So you, as an inside centre, they couldn't put me in there because I'd never done a scrum before. So if he got injured, you were allowed an additional sub that was a specific to that role. I always say that about rucks, right? So if you look at a team that doesn't have many toes, Brisbane would be a good example. If Oscar McInerney went down and say they've only got Hipwood and then Logan Morris, isn't that a safety issue that suddenly you're going to put someone in as a ruckman who's never done it before and could potentially get hurt? When you play Darcy, Jerry, these thug-type ruckmen, Internet's a thug as well, potentially you could be killing Harris Andrews purely because you haven't. Who would have a spare ruckman on the bench just in case? Yeah. So why don't you just make it 7? So then you've got that option of, I'll play a ruckman. I'll play a ruckman. So, because I said it there, when you looked at the game, I felt sorry for the Dogs. Because I was like, he's quite a big player, but you wouldn't really have. Their bench was Dolan, Cleary, Davidson, Sanders, Cooper Hines as the emergency. I was like, well, none of these really are big 200-centimetre players, are they? They're 180 players, and they haven't got any key forwards as it is. Like, make it 7.
Yeah, I like that. I actually really like that.
Like, what about this as a caveat? 7-man bench, 60 rotations. So you massively limit the rotations because we've given you an extra 3 players to help with workloads, make it more nuanced.
This is a new topic altogether.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I'm just thinking of all the other stuff.
So we're saying no to sin bins. That's the moral of the story.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally would say no to a
bench.
sin bin.
Like the extended bench. I like the extended bench idea though.
Yeah, I'm on that. I'd vote.
Because the problem is, remember, the problem is if you did any medical thing, it's always open to manipulation, isn't it? That's the problem. Like, I remember in rugby, you might have heard this case, very famous in the European Cup, but they actually had a blood capsule. Harlequins did it. They had a blood capsule, they bit the blood capsule, so the on-field doctor saw blood. He was given 2 minutes to go and get treatment from his club doctor. The club doctor actually used a scalpel to cut inside his mouth. So then when they went to the independent doctor, there was actually a laceration. They okayed it, and they brought on a professional kicker to try and win the game with 2 minutes to play. And then it came out, it came out that they did it. And the poor doctor actually nearly got struck off for doing the Sharple thing.
Jeez.
She was quite, so there is areas you could manipulate.
Jesus Christ.
Wow, that went That went deep.
Provoking. Real provoking.
Great questions. Great questions. That's it. Are we done with that one?
Yeah, no single.
Great questions. I feel bad that I'm always the comedian.
Pommy, you can go last because what you did last week was absolutely insanely good. So I don't know what you got planned tonight. Yeah. Okay. So question for all four of you, and I will qualify the question for those of you watching along as well. I just love to get to know people deeply and a little bit more than surface level. So I would make an assumption about all three of you, and that is what you've already achieved so far with your channels are goals that you said once upon a time would make you happy or would be successful. Okay, so what you've already done, at some point you said, oh, if I can only get to the point that I am today, then I would be happy with that, whatever. So what does success really look like to you now? And how is it different from when you started? So, you're thinking about something, and this is for you in the audience as well, anything in your life. Think about something you once wanted really badly. Does it still mean the same thing once you get it? So if that's a promotion, if that's a child, if that's a raise, if that's the job, the degree, the thing, does it still mean something to you now? And so one by one, I'd like to know, what does success really look like to you now that you're here? Not to say that you've achieved absolutely everything, but at some point where you are today, you looked at it and said, oh wow, if only I was there.
I'll go first because I don't have a good answer for this, but I guess I have an answer for this. So I've got my main problem. I've got a lot of problems. One of my main problems is I always
I feel that. I feel you.
is I always change the goalposts. So when I'm close to success or close to a goal, let's say close to a goal, I always change the goalpost. And when I hit that first, let's just say, for example, my goal was to hit 10,000 subs on YouTube before Christmas last year. And then as soon as I knew I was getting close to it, I changed that goal to whatever it is, 15K. And when I hit 10, I was like, yeah, awesome, that's good. But I can be better. I can go on better. So I didn't give myself time to stop and smell the roses. And I think that's a problem. Yeah, a problem of mine is whenever I'm on the verge of being or seeing success or hitting that goal, I change the goalposts so quickly that I don't sit in the goal and I don't celebrate it. And I guess a good one is like losing all the weight that I did. I got to my goal weight and I'm like, no, I can be better than that. I can do more than that. Even though people are like, oh, you're doing so well. It's like, I know I never sat in it. So I never patted myself on the back. I never congratulated myself because I had a new goal in mind. So success. So I guess to answer your question in a way, success to me is ever evolving. And I don't know if that is a good or a bad thing because I can never stand on the podium and celebrate a win because in my mind I can never win because I'm always trying to win. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's spot on. I think for me, I mean, if it's just life, it would have been giving myself the best chance for the channel. So not working in an office, working from home, having my own setup. You go back 3 or 4 years ago, hitting 1,000 subs, 5, 10, now 15, hopefully soon. Yeah, Gavin has a great one. It's all about balance. And even if you're getting subs and you're doing all these great things, but you're feeling really stressed or, things feel like they're a bit more arduous than they should be, what I've done is, goals can shift, maybe not every day, but for me, it's like every year it's almost a different goal. So like prioritizing content and getting new cameras and getting new equipment and getting better interviews. I thought the end goal was to be able to meet the players and get in the rooms. I genuinely, when I started the channel, thought that's the end goal. The end goal is I will interview players, and that's 10 years down the line. But that happened a lot quicker than I thought. So you kind of like tick it off, but like we all subconsciously learn things along the way. And my main goal now is to continue to refine. So it's like, you know, if it takes me 2 hours to film and edit a video, I want to do it in an hour. How do I do that? I'll learn new tools. I'll get better cameras. I'll maybe get more help if I can. So that was another goal, was not doing everything on my own and actually getting assistance. And now the byproduct is the audience and the numbers that you get from it. Whereas before that was the product. That was everything I looked at. Now I don't look at that. Like YouTube Studio, we all live in it, or we all once upon a time lived in it. Whereas I try not to look at it, you know, at all, as much as I can, which is pretty hard to do. But it's yeah, like what Luke said, it's kind of the journey, as cliched as that is, but the journey is getting new cameras, learning off people, chatting to you guys. That to me is that's the success. And now everything feels smooth. This wasn't me last year. Now everything feels smooth. I have everything in place. Content, you know, to me, having the internet working and connected to the wall compared to Wi-Fi and not glitching is a success for me in a weird nerdy YouTube way. But you know, you don't look the part if you don't have a good internet connection and you're glitching all the time. You know, so I kind of try to adapt and learn. It's all the little things that count, not so much the big things.
Yeah,
that comes with all the work.
Love that. Pommy?
Well, I mean, it was 5 years today that a video went up on a little channel that no one had ever heard of called Pommy in Oz. So it's actually my 5-year anniversary today.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
You know what I mean? There you are. Look, you know what I mean? So, starting school there. You know what? When I was at school, Mr. Kirkup, shout out to you, was a huge inspiration in my life, especially through a difficult time when I was a teenager. And he said something to me that always stuck with me as a kid, which was goals in stone, plans in sand, right? And
plans in sand.
Right, and I really focused on that. Like, really, that was a big thing. And I had stupid goals. So mine was just to get out of the area I lived in. Like, I wasn't going to work in McCain's. I wasn't going to become a full-time criminal. And I wasn't going to live in the ghettos, right? So it was a very simple goal, right? And then obviously, as you know, golf was my passion and that was the industry I went into. But when I look back, my life has been full of stupid goals. That stone. And then once I hit that stone, I get lost. I've always got lost, and I've always been very fortunate why I get to bum around and live with my family is because I've been very good at reaching my goals in life and then getting bored very quickly. So for me, success, I've already got it, to me, because when you grow up do you know what I mean? When you grow up and you've been looked after by the government, your goals are quite minuscule. It's just to be loved, really. And I think if I'm totally honest, ever since I was 7 years old, I've just wanted to be loved. And every time someone's loved me, they've died or betrayed me. So I don't want sympathy, but that's genuinely how it felt. So, like, obviously I feel like I've made it. I've got beautiful kids. I've got a beautiful wife. So my goals have always been, I have to set them unattainably. So I would say, Mr. Kirkup, the only thing he taught me wrong is they don't need to be in stone. They need to be in another fucking universe. And that's how I get by in life. So as stupid as it is, my goal for Pommy and Oz is to beat Mr. Beast. It's unattainable. It's never going to happen because I've got a maximum of 100,000 people that watch AFL content, right? It's never going to happen. But if my mindset is that is the goal, that means that I enjoy playing in the sand. So I really enjoy the planning. I enjoy making sure that I'm always striving because once I get settled, That's the most dangerous thing. And it's the same with my wife. It's why Zoe has been the greatest human being I've ever met, because I can never allow myself to be settled, because the minute I do, I will fuck it up. So even with Zoe, I have to have things I work on to make our relationship better. Even if there's nothing wrong with it, I have to find something that I want to do better. So yeah, for me, I have to set unattainable goals. It's a real unhealthy way to be, though. You should really enjoy the planning and the individual goals. But me personally, I can't enjoy a goal. I can't. If once I reach it, I'm on to the next thing.
Thanks, lads. And thanks to those of you in the chat that contributed as well. Some of you started really opening up. I think what this is. What about me? It's evolved because what I said to you guys applies to me as well. What I'm doing today is exactly what once upon a time I said, if I could get to the moment that I am in today, then like that would be success. But then at the end of the day, what does professional success mean anyway? For me, I've always had my career and what I do in my career as a marker for how I feel about myself. And, you know, like I could die tomorrow and whatever I've done with this channel, I would have contributed to the Carlton fan base in the history of time and, you know, of eternity. I'll have my little contribution. So like that makes me feel good on the inside. So like the ego has been fulfilled, if that makes sense. The numbers, the metrics, like doesn't do it for me anymore. Like I think what this exercise and this question has shown is that it's not about the outcomes. It's not about the number of subs. It's not about peak live stream viewers, whatever, because that'll always lead you to the next metric. It's genuinely about the graft and the grind. It's genuinely what it's about. So I've learned to appreciate that, but I don't know if I could get to that point without getting to this point, if that makes sense. Yeah. So like we've all got to achieve something that hits the ego that makes us feel good about ourselves inside. Then once you sort of get that, I think I've realized, oh, like, cool. It's never going to be enough. Like Nathan Buckley has spoken about this as well. For example, I mean, it was just all about winning the flag, and so he lost his sense of his journey along the way. And now, if you speak to him, he's a completely different person. Like he's just really all about the journey and all about the process. And I think oftentimes as fans, we can get a little mixed up when we hear our coaches say it's about the process. Don't focus on the outcome, focus on the process. And it's the truth. It's just hard to accept that when you're a fan and you're passionate and you're emotional. So yeah, I think for me, what matters to me at this point, what matters to me is saying like, I showed up every week for like 2 decades straight. Like that would make me feel good about myself. But at the end of the day, what does it matter? We're all going to die. We're all going to die. We're all going to end up in the same hole in the ground anyway. So it won't, like, nothing we do here, like, okay, we might leave a bit of a legacy for some years after, like, cool. And then in 100 years after that, we'll never be remembered again. Or 100 years after that, we won't even be, like, it doesn't even matter. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Matt has gifted 5 Pommy and Oz memberships. Well done, Matt.
What a hero. What a hero. One of the good guys.
So yeah, I just wanted to tap into that and make sure that you guys remember that if you think you're still chasing success, you've all found it. You think you're still chasing some sort of validation, you've already found it, like all of you. So well done.
Okay, let's do Pommy's one now before I fucking keep growing. All right, let's go.
Had to go deep. Yeah.
Where's the
Love your swoop.
There's got to be. Where's the intro? There's got to be an intro.
I was letting you just say I love you to each other. I was letting you have your moment because I'm going to bring us down. So, ladies and gentlemen, you wanted a new show. Got to shout out the Pommy and Oz audience who were brilliant because they helped prep this. So shout out to you guys. In the AFL system, fraud-based offences are considered especially heinous. On Footy Abroad, these dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious crimes against sport are known as a special squad called the Fraud Protection Agency. These are their stories. I'm not good. I'm a fucking liability.
God.
Oh, this is great.
That was good, that wasn't it? Hey, well done,
Unreal.
chat as well, who gave me the idea. If you notice, there was a few Easter eggs in there. I changed a few logos as well. Changed a few logos. But I told you, I looked after Swoop there, didn't I? Absolutely looked after him.
Absolutely.
I needed a costume. I needed a costume change. So I knew
Oh,
I knew
Got a bit hot in here. Fucking.
jeez.
So I just on the
Do you know, I was outside at the front of my house and I was going through Swoop's phone pictures, and there was like 4 pictures of like him topless, and Zoe's like, what the hell are you doing? Because like I was zooming in just to see how easy it would be.
I sent to you privately.
It was I was like zoomed in though, Max, just to see how easy it would be to take you out as a background. So Zoe was like, what are you doing? But anyway, after last week, if you remember, long-time watchers, me and Jake got into a debate about GWS being a fraud. And like I did say that Adelaide would beat them and keep them below 60. So massive frauds. So what I thought we'd do is we'd play our own game, chat and the esteemed hosts, and we play literally Fraud Watch. We rank the teams at this moment in time at the 25% mark of who's fraudulent, who's not, which I like. So I thought we can do this as a team exercise, as a group therapy. Let me bring my sheet up so we can do this, because otherwise I'm stupid, aren't I? But here you are. Beautiful chat. Right. So what you're going to see here is I'm going to show you a few things, right? I'm going to show you a few things before we do it. This here is a little POM stat he's made, right? So I don't know if you've heard of the turnover differential. We call it the God's thumbprint, right? So this is the ladder as it would look if the God's thumbprint was real. And then we've got POM's little God's thumbprint, which changes the ladder a little bit. It shoots Collingwood up, Geelong up, and GWS up. And that is the turnover differential with 5 other metrics versus where they should be. So I'll give you an example. On average, you score 1.8 points from an opposition turnover to be in the top 8. That's the God thumbprint. So this takes the opposition's turnovers forced by your club, but also the forward half pressure and the defensive half pressure, and says, have you done well or haven't you? Are you above par or below par? And then reworks the ladder. So it changes it. This is another algorithm here. Shout out Rory Fitzpatrick, AFL Glico, who did this because I ran out of time when I was pissing about making that intro. So this is the ladder versus what you should have done. So i.e. Carlton should have beaten 3 teams, so they actually lose a point. They're -4 because they've lost a game that they should have won game. They're -8.
Yeah.
So that's how that works. So it actually affects if you've done it. And this is Fraud Watch. Sorry, Rory Kilpatrick. I apologise to my Irish brother. Thank you, TJ. Got to watch my pronunciations. Bloke could have just been called Jeff and helped everyone out, couldn't he? But this is the ladder. So what I thought is this is the ladder as it is, all singing and dancing. Who chat, and I'll start with you, Swoop, because you're the best looking aesthetically. Who do you think in the ladder at the minute is grossly underrated if we're just using the archaic points method on that list? Who do you think is way better than that?
So, who do I think is way better than that, based on the season so far, or just based on what I think, like paper-wise and stuff like that?
Yeah, up to now, who do you think is really hot? Like, if you were ranking them, who are you really sure of, and who looks fraudulent in that top 8?
I think fraudulent is obviously the Giants. I think when they beat us, they looked good, but that was I've said it before. That was an anomaly game for us. We play them again. We're not losing again against them. But the other one who is underrated. I loved what the Doggies have done since with half their team out. They've dropped a couple of games. Like, they could have beaten us pretty easily. I think they might be a little bit underrated for me at the moment. Or they'll be my 2. They'll be my over and under.
Okay, well we'll do teams we think are fraudulent and teams that we think are underrated on that side. So these are the 2 that we're looking at. Jake, is the one side you think, based on the ladder at the minute, way too high? One side that you think is way too low?
Way too low. I mean, I almost think Freo are too, like, to me, Freo are the frauds. They're my frauds.
Took my fraud.
I think they are way more fraudulent than the Giants, mate. The Giants have lost 2 games by 12 and 18, and they played a ugly game against the Crows, who were no better than them, and they didn't have Hogan, and we're pinning them on that. I think that's ridiculous. But Fremantle, they lost to Melbourne. Any team that loses to... I'm setting myself up here, but any team that loses to Melbourne, North, or Richmond... automatically on fraud watch. Those no one making finals should be losing to those teams, and Fremantle and the Gold Coast Suns both dropping games. That's got to be automatic Gold Coast on there. You cannot be losing to Richmond at Marvel. You cannot be losing to them if you genuinely think you're a good side. That's why I'm not going crazy on the Giants, because they've lost to the Hawks and they've lost to who was the team that just beat them? Adelaide away. Both games away as well. I don't see the craziness, and they didn't have Hogan. I just think that's a huge overreaction to the Giants. I think Fremantle and the Suns are more of a watch than the Giants. But
I think you're just saying that because you lost to them, though, mate.
No, absolutely not. I can do things objectively, unlike some people, Pommy, and they're absolute shockers. All right, you are the most one-eyed blue I've ever met. The Bulldogs were going to be my other one that I was going to say could be higher, because they've actually been really good all year despite their injuries. And their percentage shows that they've been in every game, and they coped without Darcy perfectly fine. So they've got players to come back still. They don't have Treloar and they don't have Waitman. I don't know when they're due, but when they come back, they're going to be a test for anyone. Plus Bond coming back. So that would have been my pick.
Right, I love it. And Terry, who do you think's on fraud watch?
Based on who's still available, Fremantle was my first choice. I think Gold Coast at this point are too high.
Yeah.
Yep.
And who have they beaten?
They've had a really easy run to start the year.
Yeah, and I think based off who's left, I think the Carlton's too low. I know we lost to Richmond. I know. Trust me. I let him have it too.
Yeah,
we're not in the realms of those teams around us, in my view. I could be just completely one-eyed, but
you could say the same for Sydney then as well.
Yep.
Right underneath. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the 2 teams I think I think are too low. I think at the minute, this is all due respect to them as well, because I think they've done incredibly well. But I think Richmond are too high. I think they've had their games. I still think they'll win 4. But I think you know what? I wouldn't disagree. You see, I wouldn't disagree with it though, because I also think, with Carlton, I think there's a great argument. They have beaten the 2 teams that are bottom 3 of every available metric.
True.
Yeah.
And my counter argument to that, to go with Jake, I would say I'm probably the meanest Carlton fan that's ever existed. Genuinely, I think you'll only know in the next 4 weeks with Carlton. I think, in my opinion, I agree with Rory's ladder. Carlton are -8 at the minute on points because you can't ignore the Richmond game, and you'll never get the doggies as easy as you had them. Like, you'll never get them that easy. They were missing half a list. So where would we say? Would we all be agreement Collingwood are the best side in the comp at the minute on form?
Yep. No doubt.
Yep.
No doubt.
Because I think Geelong and Hawthorn are grossly underrated in the ladder.
I think Geelong's underrated.
Geelong's underrated. I think Hawthorn are about there at the moment.
Yeah,
like
I think they
got shown by Port Adelaide. Not because of not even the scoreline. Like I was there watching it. Hawthorn could not go with them at all that whole entire game.
Because me, in my heart of hearts, me and Dylan had this argument on my show last night. I think Geelong are equal to Collingwood as the two best sides. My issue with Brisbane is they keep giving up them leads, and I think the first time they've come up against someone who's capable of dismantling them, they got dismantled, and that's it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I'm open. I still think, and Wayne stole it, I think GWS are North Melbourne on steroids. A team full of midfielders that are incredibly good, that are fast-paced, that will kill you, but once you take away that run and stun, they have nothing. And I think the top sides, I think all them top 4 there right now are capable of doing that to GWS. I want to see a plan B from GWS, and their plan A happens to be the best in the comp when it's going well. That's why I call them frauds. I think people are deceptive by the sexy. They're very sexy to watch. Who would you have 4th then?
Nah.
Who would I have 4th?
I've got to agree on that.
I think that
I'll probably put Adelaide 4th.
Well, Adelaide are as much of a fraud watch as the Giants. Really, they should be both level. Like the Adelaide just lost 2. They choked to Geelong big time after being 5 goals up, and they lost to the Suns. To me, that's
controversial. Is it controversial to say that the Dogs should be 4th based on this exercise?
No, I was thinking. I genuinely wouldn't. Yeah, I think that would be fine.
You see,
the Dogs.
I personally think it's Adelaide, and I'll tell you for why. I think once Nick Murray comes back, you saw the entire change of Adelaide this week. And people are forgetting them games that they lost. They had no Nick Murray, who I think is everything to their backline. I think he's the centerpiece. He's the Nathan Murphy at Collingwood's flag win. It's that important.
So Adelaide 4th, Dogs 5th?
Yeah.
Or Adelaide 4th, Giants 5th?
How can we say being Murray out is a thing, and then you can't acknowledge that Hogan was out for the Giants in that same game?
He was
the
but
best
you
forward
look
in
at
the comp.
But GWS, but GWS have not dominated games that they should have done. You forget round 1. Was it Melbourne?
Round 1, they flogged Collingwood.
No, that was round 0.
Oh, at the G, yeah, they won by 3. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Against a team that after that, everyone has scored more goals other than North. I have been peppered. So back to my point. You make it contested, they can't play football.
And then Adelaide lose to the Gold Coast, who lost to Richmond. So you could go all day about this sort of who's lost to shit teams and this and that. That's the beauty of the comp right now, isn't it? That it's just you really can't predict.
My argument's from a system point of view. I think Adelaide have proved that they can play better against contested teams and excellent teams. Where GWS, for me, the issue's still there. You play a contested side. GG's.
I think Adelaide and Giants being 5th like that, I think that works for now. I couldn't split them, to be honest. And the Dogs.
Have you really got Hawthorn that low, though?
They could squeeze to 6th, but I wouldn't put them any higher than 6th. I wouldn't put them any higher. The teams above them have been a bit more consistent.
And then will we have the Dogs here?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the Suns, I think.
I agree with that.
Out of the.
Well, they're aren't they 9th right now on the current ladder?
That's how much I was paying attention to this.
Yeah, so they're pretty much where they should be. I don't think they're any worse than.
Because I think that's probably. I
was
in
just
my
about to
heart of
say,
hearts,
yeah.
in my heart of hearts, if you threw Sydney there, I think that's probably the top 10 teams.
You think Sydney are better than Port? Yeah, okay.
No, I'd say the top 10, but the 10th is the hardest, isn't it? Because I think all these teams here have got arguments to be. Because I think that's the bottom 4. Would we all agree they are the bottom 4?
And I guess that's the next question. No one picked Melbourne like that. They were too low. Do you reckon that's where Melbourne are at the moment? Because they still have they're not even really missing players, right? They've got a full team.
Well, May and Lever didn't play on the weekend, and they still won. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna win. They're gonna have a run. I think they'll be the 14th or 15th at this stage.
Yeah. Let's look at their next.
Because the Port argument I find interesting because Fremantle, I thought that was the most Fremantle thing to do, to lose to Melbourne.
Yeah.
And Essendon, the most Essendon thing to do would be to lose to the Eagles. So I think both teams played to form. It's just the Eagles are horrendous. Port Adelaide, though, does anyone else think, and some of the chat are saying it as well, Port Adelaide, that home advantage might make that. I think the advantage at Port is a hell of a lot stronger than Fremantle at Fremantle.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
As a Carlton fan, if I was playing Port next week in Adelaide, I'd shit myself. If you said I was at the Optus, I'd be like, 4 points.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
So would we have Port above Freo?
Yes. Based on who they've beaten. They've beaten Hawthorn and they've beaten Sydney in 2 weeks. That's not bad.
That's a good back-to-back, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're also proven. They're kind of
proven.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then 11th out of these 4 teams, without being blue-eyed,
the answer is
this
Carlton.
is a tough one, I think.
Well, yeah, that's a tough one. That is, like, you'd have to go with who teams have beaten up until this point.
The answer is Carlton.
I mean, we've beaten 2 teams that we've literally just talked up in the last 10 minutes, Geelong and Port. So surely that comes into play. If we're talking the first 6 weeks, we're not talking the rest of the year. This is current.
Oh, is it current?
Well, we're not going to hypothesize the rest of the season tonight.
We're doing Fraud Watch up to round 16, up to round 6.
Up to round 6. Oh, exactly.
Okay, well then Carlton's 14th.
I think it would be.
I thought we're projecting.
No, so we're doing it like what we know now, which I think is fair. If we go through it, Collingwood have beaten everyone. I allow everyone a mental game, and I think the GWS game was the most confusing game you've ever seen. Geelong just keep beating everyone, and they can't beat Saints. Brisbane, I question them. Keep giving them leads. Good teams will eat you. Adelaide, I think, keep coming through. GWS, Hawthorn, I don't like them there, but I understand Will Day seems to be everything to them. Dogs impress me. They have no players. They keep winning. Gold Coast, I think everyone just sees dimmer and gets there really hard. Port Adelaide and Fremantle are the 2 question marks because I think Fremantle, outside of Fremantle, Bobbins, and Port Adelaide in Port does turn me on.
Well, then I think it has to be St Kilda at 11th.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think it has to be based off the way we're doing the exercise. It has to be St Kilda next, followed by.
I'd keep it exactly like that. To be honest,
you reckon?
You
reckon?
I suppose because you've also got to take into account they have now got no ruckman Essendon. So if we're doing it as of today, can Essendon continue the 6 weeks that they've had when they're probably going to have Vicentini in the ruck next week?
Okay, so then Sydney.
So as is Sydney, Carlton, Essendon. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I think that's the way. That's.
So I'm looking at Essendon's. Oh, and they also played. The Gold Coast game. They got rescheduled to the end of the year as well.
Now I'm triggered.
Essendon,
absolutely triggered. Like fucking 8
so
years into a rebuild.
These last 4, who's the best out of this? Would we say Melbourne?
Honestly, at the moment,
I think
Richmond.
Yeah, I think
They're the
Richmond
best
have
out of
been
those four.
Yeah.
impressive. They were good the
Would we
week
have
before.
Would we have Melbourne above North Melbourne?
Yeah. But North flogged Melbourne. Do you take that into account? The head-to-head?
But then you've got to look
Ooh,
at
you probably-
Melbourne
you
have run
probably
GWS close.
Yeah.
Like North one they've lost have like literally it's been like one of the funniest. It's like it's more one-sided than Debbie does Dallas, isn't it?
Yeah, and I guess some of Melbourne's losses have been relatively competitive.
And like Richmond, they haven't really been ran over, have they?
We beat them by 80, but
But I
Well,
think
they
I
were
might
in it
have
for the
that.
first half, weren't they?
yeah. It was I think Richmond definitely the best out of that group.
Everyone, just go back to the first 5 minutes of the show where the beautiful Jake did tell us that Carlton fans up and about are the worst, and he's just used Essendon, St Kilda are coming because they battered Richmond. That's where he
You
is.
you asked if anyone flogged Richmond. I said we had.
Yeah,
That's
but I said
about it.
anyone, someone relevant. I meant.
Us. Look at where we are compared to the
Hey, the
Blues.
States are relevant again, mate.
The amount of times you mention them per week, Pom, is more than me, mate. So I just check yourself after the show.
Do you know what I mean? Brilliant. No, I like that. It's a fun exercise. So you all asked for this chat. You all came into my DMs and said we should do a thing. But I think this is a fun thing. Like,
That looks like
is
a
there
pretty
anyone
good
there though
ladder.
that you look now and you think if we do this in 12 weeks' time, you're looking for? Because statistics will show that one team in the bottom 6 will make a charge for the 8.
Yeah, and if it's not Carlton, nuke the joint.
Well, look, as much as I fucking hate Carlton, I was hearing today on Champion Data that Carlton have their top 3 in defense, in the defensive area, and they just can't score. Is that correct, guys?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So you would think if there's someone from the bottom 6, it would be them. I can't see. Well, obviously North Melbourne. That
But remember,
that
stats.
fucking old flag attack on Melbourne.
Got to remember, stats are deceptive without context, though. When Carlton play a full team defence system, they should be hard to score against because effectively you are playing 16 men behind the ball.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's like Dan Hoyne when he was getting everyone out.
Park the bus mentality.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It was like when Dan Hoyne was getting excited last week with the hardest team to stop the ball movement. A ridiculous stat. Because if you also look historically, that's usually a team that's trying to slow the game down. And slowing the game down is the opposite of what good teams are doing at the minute. They're trying to move the game quicker. I think you ranked something like 13th in that stat, Collingwood. But Collingwood are head and shoulders above anyone else in the comp at the minute. The best system in the league.
Yeah. We don't play a stop and start game, that's for sure.
Spot on. It's an interesting ladder. It's an interesting ladder because I think when you look at people.
So we've pretty much just swapped Freo and Port. We've dropped Essendon down quite a bit.
Thank God. Melbourne,
they're 11.
They are.
Melbourne,
I rate what Essendon are doing, but I think like they must have run over a cat. The guys who are injured, it's horrible. Like you ain't recovering from that. Possible.
Very good.
We should bookmark this for round 12. Maybe do it every 6 weeks.
We'll do it every 6 weeks, yeah. And I'll have a new game show for you next week.
Question.
Ooh.
Do we want to touch on Bolter or just let it go?
Well, he can't play night games now.
Yeah, because I think we brought it up last week. Wait, did we bring it up last week?
The week before. It was
the week before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Week before.
And we didn't know what the punishment was. There was that awkward 2-week gap between whatever.
Yep.
Now we know he's not jailed, therefore he's going to be able to play. Knowing what the sanctions are, which, let me just go over them. 18-month community corrections order, $3,000 fine, curfew set between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. for 3 months. He's also received a conviction, a criminal conviction, which Yeah. So now that we know the punishment, has he been punished enough based on public perception?
Well, I was reading or I saw somewhere that his conviction, what he got convicted, like the punishment, it pretty much lines up with if one of us did it. I think that 5-year jail is like super worst case scenario. So it's not like I was reading that it's not because he got off because he's a football player. I think it's the worst of the punishments without going to jail. I think. I still think it's fucking deplorable for him to come out and say violence is never the answer. I've learned that violence is never the answer, mate. You're old enough to know that violence is never, like we were taught that in primary school. Like you know, violence is never the answer on the football field. Like so I still think it's I still think he shouldn't have played last week at all until sentencing. But with the curfew, depending on how Richmond get the next half of games, he probably will miss, I don't know, half a dozen games anyway, because the games will finish, if they get night games, they finish after 10 o'clock, so he won't be able to play them at all.
Just
someone had, I think it was John Ralph had actually listed the games that would affect him. There's about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
From right now?
Yeah, something like that. As in
so,
night games that'll be in that range. It might even be 6 games.
They play Thursday night at 7:30, then they've got 3:20, 1:10, 1:10, then 7:40, then 4:15, 1:20, 3:20, and then TBC after that. So he only will miss one of the next until the bye, one game.
How many in total? We don't know yet. Oh, is that because we haven't got the rest of the fixture?
Yeah, so up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, he'll miss 2 games out of 8.
So he'll miss this week's game.
He'll miss this week, and then he'll play the next 3. Then he misses Essendon, and then he'll play the next 3 because the 4:15 he'll be able to play, obviously, against the Giants.
Someone's saying that he can't play interstate.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. So it'll just be, I was just thinking that. So he won't play the Giants, and the rest are all in Melbourne.
So he does cop a fair whack. AFL wise, I still think it's a coward punch. Like I'm super against it, obviously, but he does cop a fair whack from the AFL scheduling wise. But do the AFL just schedule Richmond games at the second half of the season in the afternoons, and and he doesn't miss out. But what can you do?
I felt he had. Okay. When Adam Uze made his press conference last week and the footy public blew up at it and fucking everyone made their TikToks pretending to be lawyers, I felt Adam Uze said that for a reason. I think they kind of had a bit of a guideline as to what punishment he was going to receive. I think he has been adequately punished. And I think what gets lost in translation with this whole process is we, as the footy public, just saw the footage of the worst part of the entire incident, which was undoubtedly the wrong thing to do. And he's lucky that whoever he hit wasn't injured more, because it could have been even worse. We don't know the full story. There's always more of the story to see. And I just think footy is part of the solution for Noah Bolter. He's 25, 24. 25?
Sounds about right, yeah.
He's 24. He has a criminal conviction on his record. That sticks. That's serious stuff. I think he's missed out on X amount of footy. The privileges that he gets to play this game were taken away for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it was. I just think he has been punished severely, and I hope people understand what these consequences are and what these punishments are. And I just think we've got to be really careful of cancelling him completely, because the most important part of this story, in my view, is that Noah Bolter never, ever does it again. And so you have to take that into account when you sentence someone, but you also have to take into account, does this person have the opportunity to be rehabilitated so it never happens again? Can he be rehabilitated? Can he be deterred from doing it again? I would be stunned if he was to reoffend again. And if he does, his life's over. He'll go behind bars, and that's he'll be in the system. And they'll be chewed up and spat out. I just think
Yeah.
footy is the answer for him here. It's a solution here to help him.
Yeah.
You know,
I can see what you're saying. Like, not a lot of people get the opportunity to, like that he has. He's been afforded this opportunity to get around a culture at the Tigers with all the staff, all the psychologists, you know, the senior figures that will sort of help him through that.
did they release case notes? Have they released case notes about the matter? Like, do we know why he did it? Do we know what? Not to excuse, and I hope that people understand with a nuanced thought what I mean by that. But you don't just hit someone for no reason, unless you feel like you're in some sort of danger. And I mean, is he really that stupid to just hit a guy that's done absolutely nothing for absolutely no reason? I'd love to know the full story. I just get the feeling there's more to it. I'd love to read the case notes. I couldn't find them today.
Yeah, I don't think they.
I haven't seen any. But,
yeah.
Onto the point of what Swoop says. It's the thing that pisses me off the most in life when you hear that, the opportunity that he's got. And I've seen that being used in the media. He's a professional footballer. How can he ruin this opportunity? For me, it's almost as moronic when I hear, guy's a millionaire, how's he depressed? Amazingly, we're all subject to stupidity. It's fascinating. We all make horrible decisions. We all say things that we don't mean to. We all say things that without the fear of ramifications, and then we do. I'm with you on this, Terry. Like, for me, when people complain about the court case, do you know what I mean? You are incredibly naive to think, as when people always say this, if it happened to me. Well, if it happened to you, you could choose 8 people at random. We'd all get 8 different sentences. The knowledge that there is a multiple tier system in the world, you're naive to think if the system isn't stacked against you in some way, dependent on trivial things to us. Like, you've only got to look at it. Like, you look at, we look at the drugs cases. Let's take Elijah Hollands and Tyson Stengel. Very similar charges, very similar accusations. The big difference being that Tyson Stengel was known to the AFL as a user prior to Elijah Hollands. Difference being Elijah Hollands got a 4-game ban. Tyson Stengel was recommended by the AFL to have his contract torn up by Adelaide Crows and also banned from state football for 12 months. One of the biggest sanctions. But then you've also got Joel Smith. You've got the Clayton Oliver situation. People are judged differently. It's fascinating. Genuinely judged differently. It's been going around for ages, and suddenly we act shocked. For me, like, I always look at it this way. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe I'm too mature. But like, yes, okay, it's horrible. He shouldn't have done it. I look at it this way: that just because he's a celebrity, why should we punish him harsher than anyone else? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think the great lesson here is them images are pretty graphic. If you show your kids them, which I hope parents do, and show them this is what happens when you don't listen to me about controlling your anger sober. In 10 years' time, you're going to be able to drink, and that becomes even harder to control your emotions when you've had a beer. So if you can't do it when you're sober, you ain't got a cat and hell's chance when you've had 4 lagers and someone calls you a prick. You're going to end up probably chinning them if you're getting angry now. So, like, for me, I'm with you. Like, when we talk about forgiveness, I think forgiveness should be ascertained almost instantaneously by the general public after the punishment has been handed out. And that's how with my kids, no matter what they do, once the punishment has been handed out, the minute they set foot outside of their door from being grounded, they are absolved of all punishment. And we're now in the forgiveness stage, where you get the love and support to never make that mistake again. And when you do, the punishment becomes twice as worse. But I don't suspect they're going to do it again. So for me, yeah, it's a grey area. It's a grey area when we say this guy's got opportunity. I would say, in my professional opinion, having the privilege of working with millionaires, billionaires, rich, successful sportsmen, the things they do and the luxury they have is 10 times what you have. So the temptation to do something stupid is even greater because the temptation to make it go missing is even higher. Like,
Yeah.
That'll shock you. When you go higher up the ladder, your ability to make things disappear, incredibly easier than me going down the TAB now and headbutting an old person.
Yeah.
Like, if I was a rich media celebrity, I'd probably make that go missing. So I think what we have to do as a society is go, that is horrific. I hope it never happens again. Hope Noah Bolter learns from this, and from him, his friends, his youth, his young players learn from him. But also, we can maybe learn from it. That when we're out drinking with our mates and our mates like, that guy's looking at me, we actually maybe do what we should do, not make soppy little posts going, I stand with this person, I stand with that person, I'm a good person, actually enact it in life. So if we're in the pub tomorrow and our mate's like, Pommy, that fucker there keeps looking at me, you think about Noah Bolter and you go, mate, look, he's not looking at you. Look, how about we get a cab, we finish these beers at my house. Like, remove him from the situation, do your job as a friend. Because I think we live in a society where, oh, he said this in a DM. Oh, they did that in the DM. We all fuck up. We're all flawed human beings. If we start getting into the moral high ground of Noah Bolter should be banned for life because he king hit someone, Jesus Christ, there's bigger problems out there, man. Genuinely, there's bigger problems out there.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's an interesting.
I actually had this situation happen to me, kind of similar. I didn't king hit the person. I got wiped out drunk one time. I was out 2016. I was with my girlfriend at the time. A guy started talking to us. He was also drunk. He called her a slut. I reacted in the moment. Like I was sitting down. I kicked him. He punched me. I stood up. We stood outside. He started dancing at me. It all happened like in a moment. Like he started dancing at me like he was going to hit me again. I'd never been in a fight. And in that moment, I'm like, fuck, like he's either hitting me or I'm hitting him. I just swung, hit him, knocked him out cold. He landed on the ground. Like it was the worst possible scenario. Lucky he got up. If he didn't wake up, I'm fucked for life, you know? And I've replayed it over and over in my life ever since. It's like, yeah, I guess I should have just walked away, but like didn't have the tools. I didn't have the tools. I was a similar age to Noah Bolter. I was 25. It's like it can all happen in a moment. Family members, loved ones, when you are threatened and you are in such an intoxicated state, you lose the ability. And I think the learning part there is like learning how to deal with yourself, learning how to not drink stupidly or take whatever you take, substances. When you're young, you experiment, not to be stupid, but like, yeah, I got lucky. I could have killed a guy for something that like he hit me first. It was, you know, I would have been in the wrong forever and my life would have been done. So it's tough, man, going out in this day and age, especially with drinking culture, Australia. People get lippy. Young men don't know how to control their emotions. They don't have the tools. Like it's all a recipe for disaster at times. Some guy just got stabbed on Chapel Street on the weekend.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. You know, so you know, we can live in like the pretend fantasy world that we all think we're living in, or we can live in reality. Like people get hit, stabbed, killed every weekend. And the deeper issue is learning how to control your emotions and learning how to look yourself in the mirror and deal with your shit, deal with whatever's going on in your life and not covering it up with whatever you're doing. So, yeah. Main thing is it should never happen again for Noah Bolter, and like let him be the lesson here for the future.
You know what I find fascinating about human beings is they are the stupidest race of animal ever. Like the fact that we have to say Noah Bolter has to learn from this. Why can't everyone else learn from it? Like, why can't we use someone else's mistakes for our own beliefs? Like, you look at Albanese at the minute. Recently, he's banned 40 cigarettes. It's now 20 cigarettes. He's got a plan by 2026 that cigarettes for a 20-pack are $100. Alcohol, though, at the same level of taxation, which is linked to more domestic violence, more assault, more SA, is that never taxed or never outlawed, never got to the state of it becomes hard. Do you know what I mean? We always pick our battles. It's fascinating when I read Twitter and it's like, Noah Bolter's this person, Noah Bolter's this person. And I read these comments and go, how sad is your life that you have to punish Noah Bolter vicariously? Because I saw it and I thought, what an idiot punching someone not seeing him. Hope the guy's all right. And you know what? Noah Bolter was given a gift by God. 200 centimeters, 120 kgs of solid muscle. Let's hope he learns to control that, because he could be a better human being if he learns to control that, and the power he has now from making this egregious mistake that potentially could maybe stop 2,000, 3,000 young men who look up to him. He can own this problem and say, look, I have anger. And I've now gone through these courses, and 5 years from now could learn to control it and ultimately maybe deliver 3,000 people from doing this. For me, I find it's fascinating in life. Like, every time you watch something, whether it be Carlton Respects, the whole messaging is, I'm not like that. I love women. Then you go to, like, you know, LGBTI. I don't hate homosexuals. I love them. They're my mates. Why is it always we look to absolve ourselves from responsibility and create a facade that we don't do that, as opposed to maybe just learn from it and maybe accept that evil exists in the world, but my responsibility is my circle. So when I go out drinking with my mates, which I rarely do, I couldn't give a shit if Terry's in with another group and he's got pissed and he glasses someone. Not my responsibility when I'm not there. As a good person, though, the boys I'm with, I make sure that I have their back. So when they do say something that could maybe ruin their lives, I'm looking out for them. I'm going, mate, don't say that. Come on, I know you're not that type of person. I don't look to punish. I look to help and protect. Yeah. So it's fascinating when Noah Bolter does this. You hear all these idiots going, should be banned for life. I would throw the book at him. Or we let the people that do their job, and we accept the outcome as good human beings. But we learn from this. What can I do to stop this happening? Okay. Do I get angry when I'm pissed? Do I get too angry when something goes wrong? You know, maybe look within. Like, our society is built on soppy Twitter posts saying, I'm a good person, this person's worse than me, as opposed to actually doing anything with your life. Like, I couldn't give a less of a shit what Noah Bolter does. He doesn't pay my mortgage, he doesn't put my kids in bed at night, and he doesn't fucking feed them. So I couldn't give less of a shit. What I can do, though, is learn from him and go, okay, I don't want my boys to be like that. I don't want to be like that. Don't want my family and friends to be like that. Bizarre to me. Like, what is wrong with your society? You can fix anything by the power of your minds, but you focus more on, I hope Noah Bolter's chastised. Yeah. Sort your life out.
That's classic society, isn't it?
Yeah, but we're all part of the problem because we all do it, don't we? Like,
100%.
I haven't. I'll hold my hand up. I haven't, but I can guarantee that all of us as a collection have contributed to society's problems of let's post this stupid cause, but not actually fucking do anything about it.
Yeah. I'm glad we brought it up.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. You guys got really deep. Thanks for opening up. Safe space, as always.
Yeah, of course.
I'll take him serious when he's got his abs out, I tell you.
How many live concurrent viewers? If we have more than 500, I'll bring them out. But if we don't,
you say that at the end of the show.
End the show. Hit the button.
I just say I'm a very heterosexual male. But Jesus, that picture swoop.
I'll send you a couple more for your eyes only.
Hey, I contemplated my life choices. I'll be honest.
Lads, lock of the week. Let's go.
Lock of the week.
Show must go on.
Oh, I kind of want to say. Actually, I'll say it. Fuck it. Richmond over Melbourne is my lock of the week.
Really?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I don't know if Lever and May are going to be back, but I'm going to lock Richmond over Melbourne. Who did North have Port?
Oh, Freo Adelaide. I'm going to go Adelaide away. Screw it. Freo.
Adelaide away against Freo.
No good. Yep, stuff it.
Really?
I hate it when you take the good ones.
They got to win away at some point, surely.
Yeah, but I'm locking Carlton against Geelong.
There's no way Essendon beat Collingwood, is there? No way.
There is, of course, there's a way.
There's always a
Okay,
way, Terry. There is always a way.
It's going to be wet as well. It's 19 and rain. It's
Oh,
going to be
that's
closer
perfect.
than anyone thinks. 100%.
You got a little bit of confidence about him.
I can't bring myself to tip.
Little
I
bit of
really do
confidence.
want to tip. I really do want to say Carlton, but I'm like 0-5. I can't say it. Oh, it's all
Yeah.
set up, man. Like, think about it. The Blues, like Sunday afternoon, like we beat them, and then it's like everyone's back on board. Like,
Why did you do it?
Yeah.
no, it's gonna be. Gold Coast.
Gold
Fine,
Coast.
I won't do it.
Giants.
Actually, oh,
Giants over the Doggies. That's gonna be a
Okay.
ripper game.
based off Fraud Watch, Sydney. Sydney to beat Gold Coast.
Okay. Good one.
There's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of fraud v frauds in this round.
It's a lot of fraud.
It's a fraud fiesta, isn't it?
It's a fraud.
Gather round. It's fraud. It's fraud round.
It's an absolute fraud off. The same.
Richmond beat Melbourne.
Yep.
You just stole Mullen.
Oh, did you?
What?
Oh.
Give us a margin though, Pom, because you're good at that. Richmond beat Melbourne by
Yeah, you are good at it.
over or under what?
Richmond beat Melbourne by over 15.
Oh.
Yeah. I was gonna say they could go. I reckon they'll go over 5 goals.
What?
Yeah, I reckon they're gonna. They got a hunger now. The Tigers.
They
after
do look
beating
good
them.
when their tail wags.
When they're up and about. They score quick.
Oh, wait a minute. Can
Yeah, we've
Bolter
seen-
play that
we've seen
game?
that.
No, he cannot
No,
play.
Bolter's not
It's
playing.
Melbourne. If there's
But-
two of you doing Richmond, I'm going Melbourne. Melbourne are
I
winning.
was going to say lock in Melbourne then if there's no Bolter because I
But
think
their
Bolter's
forward line's not that tall. Is like, I mean,
Petty.
Bolter, no,
Trust.
but
Petty's been pretty good, isn't he?
Bolter was the lock though, wasn't he? If you watch that game, Bolter allowed Vlastin to
Bolter.
dance around.
Bolter was, yeah. They were
Yeah,
both
he was
played
good.
fucking incredibly. Yeah.
How does it work, Terry, from a legality point of view, that they could play him to what, about halfway through the third quarter and sub him out, and he could probably be home if he lived in the CBD?
I don't
But
think
they
you
do that?
can. Can you get
They
rid
could
of
do that.
Can you sub out a player and then they can just go home?
Yeah,
I'm sure they could do whatever they want.
yeah, because they go to hospital, like, don't they? They don't leave them in the
Yeah, but
dressing room.
that's because it's an emergency, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you got to remember, the AFL can do whatever they want.
That's true. That's true as well.
It's
It can all
tactical
be
sub.
made up. It can all be made up
Yeah.
on the spot.
Yeah. I guess you can. I guess players were saying that they would leave if if their wife was having the baby
Yeah.
at halftime of the
Yeah.
grand final, so they could just get sub off and leave. So yeah, that's
You'd
true.
imagine
That's-
he'd live within 30, 40 of the G. You'd imagine.
You'd think so.
You
Or
would
just
think so,
get
but
an
I think he
Airbnb.
might need to go and check in as well. I believe he'd have to go and do
Oh.
daily check-ins at the police station.
Okay.
Yeah, so
You could always have a car on standby, couldn't you? Little
Yeah.
moped.
go in,
Yeah.
check in, sign your name, and then go home.
Imagine they just run straight into the car park. Yeah.
Oh,
Not great. Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll see what Richmond do anyway when they name the teams
we will
tomorrow night.
see. Oh, lads, can I just ask the two of you, Luke and Jake, like, who are you tipping out, Carlton and Geelong?
You always, I love that he always brings that up right at the end. I will be, yeah, I'll be tipping Geelong. Just based on form.
Can Carlton win?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, I'd love to. I know it's getting at the end. It's going to open a can of worms, but fuck, I would love to finish 8th the year before and play two of the worst teams back to back instead of 2 grand finals back to back. That's for fucking sure.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Hey.
Yeah, all right. So
You know,
we'll
and
just
then play him again in 2 months. Woo-hoo-hoo. God damn.
It's primed. It's primed. I said, did I talk up the Blues last week or the week? I can't remember when I did.
You
the
talked
Blues,
up
they got a big
Blues
chance.
before.
They
Yeah.
did play really good against like they fucking ran right.
Yeah, they
I know it's
hammered North.
but you guys ran fucking right. It was scintillating.
Just feel like the world I know that you don't like
could,
Carlton.
yeah.
It's okay to not like Carlton fans, and like we can be insufferable. I get it. Trust me. I just think it's good for footy if Carlton win this Sunday.
No, it's
Even if-
not, but they have a
Oh,
chance.
It's not good for
No,
footy.
it's not good for footy. It's good for Terry. It's good for Terry, but it is
football,
not.
Yeah, it's good for football,
It
but
is
it's
not
good
in any way, shape, or form good for football.
The baggers, up and about.
It's not
Gold
good.
Coast.
Great show, everyone. Great show. Yeah, let's go.
All right, guys. See you later.
See you guys.
guys.